Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be doing a Q&A video. So last week I asked you guys on my Instagram stories to post your queries. If you aren't already following me on Instagram, go follow me. Here's my handle so you don't miss out on all the small things and my life updates and other details. So I did receive a lot of questions and I had to decrease them and answer the most frequently asked questions. So once again, thank you guys for sending your questions. Today I will be answering the common questions which were asked a multiple number of times, and let's get down to it. So question 1, how's the COVID situation right now? So right now in Alberta, since December the 13th, everything is pretty much closed. So restaurant dine-ins are closed, gyms, saloons, nail parlors, everything is closed. Only the malls are open at very reduced capacity because given that it's holidays, to get the last minute Christmas shopping done, but they are in very reduced capacity. And we are also having religious sermons going on, so prayers, churches are open, but again at very limited capacity, and most of the prayers which are being conducted, they are only being conducted with a handful number of people, and that's the situation right now. All the indoors are closed other than the malls, and it's a little bit depressing to be back down to these stricter restrictions, but the cases were rising, and that's why the provincial government decided to do these restrictions. The vaccine started rolling out a couple days ago, so let's see, hope things get better and easier for all of us and we can pass this very difficult time. Question 2, what's the cost of living in Calgary? So I actually did a video about the cost of living in Calgary earlier this year. Links over here. Please go check it out, and I did describe everything in details. Question 3, how accepting Canadian companies are towards foreigners? Is there any bias? I would say that the Canadian companies are not biased for being qualified for jobs in Canada. There are two things you need to have. One is you need to be confident, and number 2, you need to be really good in speaking English. So your English needs to be fluent. If employers see that you pass in these two categories, they normally tend to hire you, and Canadian workplace actually welcomes diversification. So they respect all the cultures around the world, and they want to hire people from different countries just to increase the diversity of the workplace, and there is no discrimination against any sort of cultures, gender, race, etc. So there you go. Question 4, do you feel comfortable living in Calgary as a Muslim? To be honest, I think I really do feel comfortable living in Calgary as a Muslim because I have friends who are living in the US, and they have told me multiple numbers of times that they have faced a lot of racism, backlashing because they wear hijab. And to be honest, when I was moving to Calgary, I was worried since I'm a visible Muslim, what would people think? But alhamdulillah, the Canadians take it really well over here. The western side of Canada basically doesn't care if you wear a hijab or not, and they are very respectful towards your religion, and they are curious, so they will be asking you curious questions, but they will try their best not to offend you and ask you in the nicest way possible so that you can explain them more about your culture and your religion. So I would say that Calgary is a pretty safe place, and I do feel comfortable living here as a Muslim. Question 5, do you think that you will move to another province one day? To be honest, we actually like living in Calgary, and I have mentioned this time and again in a lot of videos and in my Instagram how we feel like Calgary is home now. I don't know about the future actually. Maybe in the future we might move someplace else given the circumstances at that point, but for now and in the foreseeable future, we see living in Calgary, and we love Calgary, and we have made Calgary our home. So don't see the point of moving right now, but can change in future depending on the other circumstances in future, which I don't know about right now. Question 6. How is the IT sector in Alberta? Now, IT basically have jobs throughout Canada. We do know that Ontario has the most jobs for IT people, but for Alberta too, there are jobs. You might need to do some certifications or diploma depending on what the job is asking you to do, but IT generally has jobs in Alberta and all throughout Canada, more in Ontario, but there are jobs in Alberta as well. Question 7. If anyone from Bangladesh comes to Calgary as new immigrant, would you help them? Again, I think that's the whole point of me doing a YouTube channel and making YouTube videos. The point of making these videos is to help immigrants like myself to know more about Calgary and Canada in general, and to disseminate the information to the new immigrants, which a lot of the people don't know of, including me. When I first moved here, I didn't know a lot of things, and I basically started doing this to help you, the new immigrants, to make your moves easier. So it's not just Bangladeshis, I would help any nationality. That's also another reason why I don't do these videos in Bangla, and I've kept it in English so that everyone can understand what I'm talking about. And if you have any other questions, always please feel free to reach me, drop comments below, or just post your questions in YouTube, and I almost always answer the ones which are on YouTube because I check them on a regular basis, and I will be helping you out to the best of my knowledge when and where possible. Question 8. Best quadrant or neighborhoods to live in Calgary? Again, this is a vast topic, and it completely depends on your job, your children's school, if you have a car or not. So these things really come into factors while you're considering for a place to live. We live in the southwest side of Calgary, and the reason why we chose southwest is because it was closer to both of our jobs. I still work in downtown, so I still need to commute a little bit further, but for my husband, he only needs to walk 15 to 17 minutes to reach his workplace, or it's a 5-minute drive by car. And we also chose our apartment near to bus station, so it's only 2 minutes away from the bus stop. And we wanted to make our lives easier by not commuting as much and being closer to our jobs. So it completely depends on you. The northwest side is famous for universities. The northeast side is famous for Asian communities. More Desi people live in the northeast side. A lot of halal food is more accessible in the northeast side. And the southeast side is purely residential. So southeast basically have a quieter neighborhood, more secured, but you won't be having any train lines to southeast, so only buses go to southeast. There are no train lines. And the southwest side where we live in, it's a mixed community, and it's also near to malls. So Chinook Mall is really close to our house, and South Center Mall is also close to our house. So we are living in an area where everything is pretty much accessible. So it again depends on you completely. Just one advice, I would suggest not living near a train station, just because there are a lot of homeless people roaming around train stations, especially at night, and it can get uncomfortable for you if your work ends at night and you are commuting back home using public transport. So other than living next to train stations, you can live anywhere in Calgary, and it is pretty much safe everywhere. Just make sure that it is closer to your workplace if you don't have a car, and it's close to public transport so you can easily access the bus or train and it doesn't waste your time in commuting. Question 9. Which sector you are working in there, Apu? Was finding a job difficult at first? So I am currently working in customer service. I did joined customer service back in September 2019. That was my first job and I'm still in customer service. I really like my job because my bosses are really flexible with my schedule and they work around my time schedules, and I'm really thankful for that. And my bosses are really great. They make me want to go and work there, and they have really made me feel like home. That's another reason why I'm still there. And yeah, it wasn't that difficult to land a job. I did make job videos, how to nail interviews, link is over here. Just check that out. And I also did make another video where how to land jobs when you land in Calgary. Check that out as well. So these two videos give you more ideas about how to prepare for jobs here in Canada and the interviews you may need to go through in order to get a job. Question 10. What is the scope of BTech chemical engineer in Alberta? So when you are working in a specialized field like engineering, doctor, medicals, pharmacy, nursing, you need to get an additional certificate because the Canadian government or Canada in general want the international graduates to shift over to the Canadian side by having the Canadian experience, and for that you need to have additional certifications or you need to go through a set of exams in order to work in those fields. So for engineering it's also the same thing. I am not sure how many exams you need to go through, but you do need to go through a set of exams. Just Google them, Google Engineering Canada, and see what exams you need to go through. Also, when you are looking for jobs in Indeed.com, look at the specifications of the job and you can know better about what exams or what certifications you might need to land jobs in Alberta. Question 11. How do you travel to Banff, Lake Louise, Moraine without a car? Any specific tips? So this summer I have found a special way of traveling to Banff, and that is by using this app called Papa Ride. So basically this app is like Uber. It's ride sharing app. The driver will post a ride where the passengers can select the destination and they can sync with his time and ride with him. They all have to wear masks and sit in the back seats just like Uber, but it's a convenient and a cheaper way of traveling rather than using Uber or public transports from Calgary, which cost between $80 to $150 just to go to Banff. And this has been our way of traveling from Calgary to Banff. We sync in with the drivers, we check the dates beforehand, and we book the rides and we travel accordingly. And when we do reach Banff downtown, we use Rome Transit buses. So those are the public buses in Banff, and I check the schedules of the buses beforehand, the ones which go to Lake Moraine or Lake Louise, and we just fix up our schedule a day or two before and travel accordingly. Also, our friends have helped us a lot this summer. They have taken us to a lot of different places and I am really thankful for that. They helped us see a lot of different things, so thank you guys for taking us and showing us around. But we also wanted to do some extra adventures, so because of that we even booked rides with Papa Ride and we got to see more of Banff and get some more hiking done, which I'm sure a lot of you know of if you've seen my stories on Instagram. Question 12. How accessible are halal foods in Calgary? So I wanted to talk about this topic. Halal foods are actually readily accessible in Calgary. From frozen foods, you can find frozen burgers, sausages, turkey bacons, in Walmart, Superstore, even 7-Eleven, there's a whole halal section and you can actually go and buy your frozen items from there and just fry them home when you don't feel like cooking anything. So that's a really good thing. And they also have a lot of different halal restaurants all throughout Calgary. Northeast sees a huge part of halal restaurants, but there are a lot of halal restaurants also in downtown and also in Southwest, Northwest and Southeast. You can just look it up online through Skip the Dishes, or even like there are huge halal signs, and we've tried everything so far. We have tried burgers, pizza, biryani. We've tried pretty much everything, and alhamdulillah, everything was halal. We have no problem getting halal food over here, and even the halal meats can be found in different parts of the city. They all have halal signs in it. I do post about my halal food stories on Instagram. Just check them out. If you wanted to know more, you can drop comments below and I'll be happy to help you out. Question 13. Is it real that getting an administrative position in Calgary is nearly impossible? I wouldn't say it's impossible, but you do need to get specific certifications like I mentioned, since it's a specialized field. So they're not just going to hire an international graduate if you don't have a Canadian experience or a Canadian degree to back up your experiences. So you might need to do certifications or a diploma in order to be hired in those positions. You can also start off by working as an administrative assistant and then work your way through an administrative position once they see how well you're performing. But I wouldn't say it's impossible. You just need to put a lot of work into being in those positions. Question 14. Do you get homesick from living away from family? How do you deal with it? When we were moving here, we already knew that we were going to miss out a lot in terms of our family developments and a lot of the newer things which our families might have had successes in, and we'll be missing out on them. One of the biggest things we've missed out on was when both of our nieces were born. One was born last year and we missed out on that, and one was born this year and we missed out on that either. But we knew that we were going to be missing out on all these things in life, and I guess this is just a part of growing up. Sometimes you need to make some decisions which will be for your own greater good. You just have to roll with it in that way. Of course, we do miss them. I miss my eldest niece, who is now 2 years old, and I miss all the developments that she's having, all the conversations. We are missing out on all our nieces growing up, but I guess this is just a part of life. This is adulthood, and how we deal with it is we try to stay busy on our hobbies. Like my husband loves playing FIFA, so he's always playing FIFA when he's not working or helping me edit these videos. And I like to create content, go out for shooting, go out for mountains, and I like to paint. I like to keep myself busy so that we don't get too worked up about thinking about family back home and being really upset about it. And I guess this is our way of coping through this whole distance thing. Hopefully we can see our families in the near future, inshallah. Question 15, but is it always sunny? So Calgary actually does see more than 300 days of sun, and it's really good when you are having winters with really minus temperatures here in Calgary, because when you do see the sun, your mood is automatically better and it makes you feel like the sun is here, so it won't be that cold. Even though it is cold, the sun is just a very good reminder that the winters are not so bad in Calgary compared to Vancouver. Like I mentioned, that I was really upset with the gloomy weather, and I prefer Calgary's sunny weather any day because it makes you feel better, and the sun is actually almost there most days, so the winters are not that bad at all. Question 16, what is your advice for newcomers in Calgary like me and my family? This is again another vast topic, and there are a lot of advices, and we can actually talk about this topic for hours. But the one big advice I would like to give you is you just need to be mentally strong for what's to come in Canada. So you do have a stable life back home and you have built that life for all these years. Then you are planning to move and leave everything that you were so comfortable with and move to this whole new area with nothing built from before and starting from scratch. It takes a lot of courage, and you do need to mentally prepare yourself for any possible circumstances, and remember to put in the work to build a sustainable, stable life. So my biggest advice to you would be to make sure that you are mentally capable of putting in the work required to settle down in a new country, and be positive and also be patient with yourself. It is very difficult to change your entire life and completely move to a new setting, but be patient and things will work out for you. Just you need to put in the work and keep hustling. Question 17. I am new to the credit-driven systems and credit cards. Any tips? I am not the best person to answer this just because I don't have a credit card myself yet. And the reason being is there are a lot of reasons why we don't have a credit card, but the biggest reason is because we are not comfortable with it yet and we're scared of just falling into debt. So since we came from Bangladesh, we never actually got the credit system back home, and we were always into debit cards and just paying it at that time with a debit card. And we are trying our best to maintain that in here as well. I know sooner or later we might give in to the credit cards, but for now the purchases we are making are mostly with debit card. And when we need to make any credit card payments online, you can find Visa cards which come up to $500, and you can actually fill the money in those Visa cards from Shoppers or 7-Eleven, and you can use those cards online to make online payments. Sometimes we have had payments more than $500, so we asked our friends to help out who has a credit card. But again, sooner or later we might be moving into this credit card, and we're just dealing it just because we aren't still comfortable with the whole credit card idea. But if you were planning to build your score, getting a credit card obviously makes sense. Just make sure that you pay all the payments on time, and you need to have a good score, at least above 650, to be qualified for most things like mortgages, loans, insurances. Like if you wanted a good rate, your score needs to be above 650, and that's called fair credit. And you just need to keep building it by paying all your payments on time every month and not delaying it, or else it will decrease your credit points. So that's the only advice I can give you for now. Question 18. How strong is the Muslim community there? It is pretty strong. We do have quite a few mosques. The recent mosque which opened was in downtown Calgary about 2 months ago, and I did make stories about that. Right now, due to COVID, things are slow and the restrictions are higher, so they decrease the number of people who can pray in the mosque because of the newer restrictions. But once the restrictions loosen up, you can actually go and pray in those mosques, and they do have big capacities, and new mosques are being built so that the community can pray, and that's a huge achievement. Also, you can take Islamic classes. They offer a lot of different Islamic classes, and they're both online and in person. So it's a really strong community, I would say, over here. Even the Canadians recognize Muslims and Ramadan and Eid. So if you just tell your employer from before that you want to take your Eid vacations, like maybe the Eid day or the day before and the Eid day, just let them know beforehand and they are bound to give you off, especially on the Eid day. They try their best to accommodate that. So it's pretty strong in Canada. Question 19. Your videos are inspiring. How do you manage to make videos and also work full-time? I think this is only because of you guys and the support and love you provide me. Sometimes it is overwhelming to work so many hours and then come home, shoot videos, edit videos, and I do feel like giving up sometimes. But every time I feel negative or like I feel too overwhelmed, I always somehow get a positive message from any one of you telling me how my videos are helping you and how my littlest details have helped you somewhere in your lives. And that is the only motivation why we are still doing these videos and why we're pushing ourselves to make new content. So it's because of you guys. I can't thank you guys enough for all the love and support you provide us, and it pushes me to push out better and newer content every time. Thank you so much. And the last question for today, question 20. What sort of part-time jobs would you recommend for grad students? I would suggest that anything light, because you do have a lot of studies especially if you're a graduate student, you need to focus on your studies. And anyway, a student can work only 20 hours per week. So make sure that you have a job which is flexible with your study schedule. It doesn't have to be anything intellectual, but as long as it's paying your bills, you should be good to go, and you will have something to add to your Canadian resume that you worked in so and so place. And also discuss with your employers the times which work for you, and if you have any exams, to let them know that you cannot work those days. It's always best to discuss with your employer beforehand if you're working and what schedule works for you. But I would suggest that anything will work as long as it's not putting a strain in your studies. Just make sure that it won't physically or mentally put a strain in your studies, and you can both focus on your studies and also work at that job. So that was all, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed my video and found it useful. Please do leave your comments below, and I would like to know from you guys, what did you think about this video? Hope it was helpful for you guys. And if you have liked my video today, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel if you're new. Thank you so much, guys, again for all your support. I hope to see you guys in my next video. Till then, bye.